the Niners are going to go as far as their young players take them. And I believe that. Last year, they were really relying on their vets to take them all the way. And they almost did until Jaquiski Tartt dropped that pick. Now, they'll have a bunch of unproven guys, not just at quarterback, but a bunch of guys who really have no experience that are going to need to step up and be impact players. So let's start with the rookies. Which one do you think will make the greatest impact in 2022?
I think I'll have to go with that speedster, Danny Gray. I mean, honestly, even without doing too much research on him when he first got drafted, I just saw immediately, at the draft, they talk about how he has the speed, top end speed, this typical go route Z receiver, someone who's going to push the envelope down deep. And that immediately just like, my God, you just uplifted the new ceiling on this offense, not only because Trey Lance can throw it deep, but the 49ers acknowledge that, like, hey, not only do we have a quarterback who finally throw it deep, we need a true wide receiver who can actually get down there and excel at a high level. Because, sure, you have a George Kittle who's proven to do that, or Deebo Samuel and Ayuk, but they're not really – are they really the most proficient down there? I wouldn't say so. You want someone who's really that specialist guy who can go down there, and that's when you had Shanahan mention Travis Benjamin, which is kind of wild, even though he can't really do too much anymore. So I feel like he can be the most impactful, not even just in terms of production. He doesn't necessarily have to be productive. He can probably get like 20, 25 catches. But as long as he shows he can get down there, that's going to do enough for that offense to open everything up.
See, I'm glad you got there at the end. I agree, 20, 25 catches. I don't know if he'll be the most impactful rookie, but I do think he's going to make an impact. And I think the catches he makes are going to be big. Like he could have 5, 6, 7 touchdowns and long ones, because think about it. The defense is so worried about the run game and covering Deebo and Kittle and Ayuk that if someone's going to get forgotten, it's going to be Danny Gray. And if you forget about Danny Gray, it's a touchdown. Like, remember in 2016, Kyle had the greatest offense of his career in Atlanta. He had a bunch of great players, but sort of the X factor over there was Taylor Gabriel. Am I getting his name right? The little dude who was hella fast. And if you were totally focused on Julio Jones or Mohamed Sanu or Austin Hooper, that little speedster on the outside would burn you. And Kyle's really good at that. So I'm with you on Danny Gray. Is that his name? Taylor Gabriel? Am I tripping on that?
Taylor Gabriel. No, you're right. Taylor Gabriel.
Okay.
I don't know if he was tiny. I think he actually has some size to him.
I think Ty Davis Price is probably going to get 100 carries. I think he's going to get 100 carries. Elijah Mitchell's going to get 100 carries. Trey Lance going to get 100 carries. Maybe Jeff Wilson Jr. too. So Ty Davis Price is going to be a role player. He's going to be in the rotation. But, dude, I don't know if right away, but by the end of the season, I think Drake Jackson is going to be a big-time impact player. I think Drake, like, if they're in the playoffs or making a playoff push, I think Drake Jackson is going to be making a bigger impact than Danny Gray and Ty Davis Price combined. So I don't know if right away, he's probably going to be on the bench, and he may not get many snaps right away because he is really young. But I think by the end of the year, we've seen it. Chris Kasarik, once he has a little bit of time, a lot of his new projects take off the second half of the year, a little bit like Arden Key and Samson Ebukam. So I think Drake Jackson is going to be a big time player for them in November, December.
Yeah, Drake's going to be nasty. I think the way I just pretty much just chose Gray is because, your running backs, Davis Price, all those guys are going to make an impact for sure. But I think because the way the running back situation is, David Price is more like that bruiser, someone who got depth and rotation. So it kind of feels like it's not taking it over to the next level. And then, the defensive line, they were already elite. Sure, having Jackson there is great, but I kind of like the way he did it with Danny Gray, just because it pretty much optimizes what you have with Lance. Thank God you got a speedster wide receiver, because I was thinking they were going to go the free agent route, like a Will Fuller or whoever, or someone that can go deep. Because if you didn't have a deep receiver with Lance, I kind of feel like you were limiting your own offense, but not utilizing one of your quarterback's best assets, which is that he can throw deep with his arm.
Okay, I got one more name as a deep dark horse. No one's talking about this guy. But I think for the same logic, I just use a second half guy, someone who may start off as a backup but could become a starter down the line. Spencer Burford. He was their 4th round pick. And when they took him, I didn't know much about him. I thought, they're going to try to move him to guard. But then I've met him. He's got really long arms. He looks to me like an offensive tackle. And I'm thinking they're thinking he could be Mike McGlinchey's replacement next year. He's really young. But, I mean, we'll see how Mike McGlinchey makes it through the year. And I think by a certain point, they might be looking for another right tackle. And this guy might be the best one available on their team. So don't be surprised if Spencer Burford's a starter for them. Not just next year, but at the end of this year.
That's a good little dark horse, especially.
There's also Jalen Moore, but I don't know. Jalen Moore was promising last year, but
Jalen Moore's promising, but
Yeah.
are you really gonna like boast him very much like that? I mean, no. I mean, you would like to think so. Sure, that'd be great, but I mean, I'm not willing to go that extra envelope to go
He,
push for him like that.
he should be a little stronger than Burford just because he's a little older and been in the NFL 1 year longer.
Yeah,
But
one more year.
none of the Niners offensive linemen except for Trent Williams are particularly strong. I mean, they
Nope.
all kind of get pushed around. So I'm thinking in terms of just athleticism and movement and length and all that stuff that you can't coach. Burford's probably got more not beat, and that's why he was drafted higher. So I'm just look out for Burford. The only reason Moore was playing tackle last year, anyways, because school went down and they moved him out there. When they drafted him, they were talking about guard. That's all I'm saying.